MLB Talk, New York's #1 baseball podcast. Now here's your hosts, Chris Pizzaya and Rob Maraska.
And welcome to a new episode of NYMLB Talk with your hosts, Rob and Chris. And remember, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that sub button for us, that like button. And you know what? Give us a shout out in the chat. See where you guys are. If you guys are Yankee fans, Met fans, we like to hear more from Yankee fans because I'll be honest, all we hear is from Met fans. So I want to hear some from Yankee fans. We've got a special guest here today, Mr. TBK. He's going to give us some Baltimore Orioles knowledge and what's going on with the Orioles. And remember, you can follow us on Twitter /X at NYMLB Talk. You can follow us on TikTok. Hit us up there. We put up plenty of clips on there as well. So check us out there as well. Rob at R Maraska, myself at CP7NY. Guys, what's going on?
Hey, Chris. Good to have TBK on with us tonight. We're on a little differently tonight. We thought we were going to be able to come on after the Mets and Yankees finished, but the Mets had that long rain delay in Kansas City with a late start anyway. So we'll keep you guys updated on the Mets score. You probably have it on anyway with us on. They're still leading 1-0. Alonso walked with the bases loaded, and the Mets scored, and it's been 1-0 so far. Senga's looked pretty decent. He got himself in a little trouble, but he's been able to get himself out. So far, so good. Pitching help is on its way. But, Chris, the Yankees, what is going on?
Yeah, you know what? I love it. After that last game with you guys, right, in the Subway Series, they win that last game to salvage that one game. And listen, I've always said it. If you're going to win one game in a 3-game series or a 4-game series, make it that last game, right? So you could finish off the series with some kind of feeling somewhat good about it, right? Because after the first 2 games, that was ugly. If it was the other way around, if they won the first game and lost the next 2, I think they would have walked out of that series feeling a lot different. So, and then they go play Seattle. Seattle's been playing pretty good this year. And they sweep Seattle in the Bronx, which is great. The last game, pretty amazing comeback, being no hit for the first 7 innings against Wu. And then they finally get to him in the 8th inning, get a couple of runs off him. And then they tie the game off of Munoz in the 9th. And then they win it in the 10th. So pretty cool way to sweep one of the better teams in the league for the Yankees. And then tonight, win against the Cubs, who's coming in really good. I mean, they're leading their division. They're playing really well, and they shut them out 11-0. Bellinger hits 3 home runs. He almost hit 4, right? Because Tucker took one of his took a home run away from him. Judge took who did the home run he took away from too? Judge stole the home run as well.
Yeah, they I didn't see that play because I switched to the Mets by then, I think. But yeah, the Yankees offense, since you said it, since Bellinger made that play against the Mets on Sunday, the Yankees have been unstoppable. I mean, no hit. And then they come back and win that game against Seattle. Unbelievable. Then tonight, Bellinger went wild on his former team. I mean, really. And like you said, the Cubs, are doing pretty good, but the Yankees are just on a roll. I agree with you. I think sometimes one play could change everything. Because if Bellinger doesn't make that play against the Mets probably win that game. And maybe, things might be different, right? So
maybe the Mets sweep.
Yeah, that's what happens. And it's like a tale of 2 cities with the same city, because now the Mets are, not playing their best baseball once again. We know it's the pitching. 3 out of the last 6 games have been bullpen games. So they go into Maryland, TBK, and the Orioles could have swept the Mets. The Mets come back and win the Tuesday night game 7-6 in extra innings, but the Mets could have easily got swept. What did you think about that series against the Mets?
So, I mean, anything right now for us is, a win is a win because we're 7 games below 500 right now. Um, Anything for us is a positive moving forward, especially if it puts us in a win column. But as you said, shoulda, coulda, woulda, we absolutely could have swept that series. But uh, what seems to be a downfall for Baltimore teams here lately is having commanding leads and blowing them. There's no reason we should have lost that game up, 6-2. Mets come all the way back, put up 5 runs, win the game. Um, it's I don't know. It's to the point to where you go, are y'all trying to throw the game away because you're doing a hell of a job? Like
Yeah,
what
but yeah, TBK. But Gunnar Henderson, who has not had such a great year this year, he started to hit against the Mets. Okay, so maybe that woke him up. Maybe they're going to have a better second half. But right now, it looks like for the trade deadline, the Orioles may be sellers.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, we just got rid of our the relief pitcher. Um, you know, uh, but it scares me. It scares me right now to get rid of any high value player because I don't feel like the rest of the guys are tenured enough to have that real locker room leader presence. Um, Except for maybe, I don't know, Gary Sanchez. Like he might be the oldest guy we have on the team at the moment. He's been around a bit, but I don't know. I mean, Adley has been having problems staying on the field. He's been having problems staying healthy. Um, Gunner can be a little bit of a hothead sometimes, especially when he's not hitting. I mean, for God's sake, Jackson, I don't know, can he even buy a beer yet? Is he legal?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. Like my man's still ordering chicken tenders out at restaurants. Like, we need somebody in there, and the guy that I fear losing the most is Mullins.
Yeah, well, he would actually be a good fit for the Mets in center field. Me and Chris talked about that before.
Well, you got to remember with Mullins is going to be a free agent after the season.
Yes.
So unless the Orioles are planning on making this guy an Oriole for life, I think it's the right thing to trade him, right? Same thing with O'Hearn. O'Hearn's a free agent too, and he could probably bring something back, right? Or and he's going to be a free agent at the end of the season. So unless they're guaranteed in signing these guys, I think you got to trade them.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think they will, though. That's the thing.
Well, yeah. Well, obviously, it goes to show that, making mention that you would like to stay, with a team for your career means nothing because that's exactly what happened to Anthony Santander. He expressed interest. He did not want to leave the Orioles, which I bet he's happy about making that decision now because the Blue Jays are in first place.
Right.
So
yeah, but he's not having such a great year, though. Remember that too.
He's not having a great year, but he's on a winning ball club. So you can you take one for the other, I'd say. But I don't know if Cedric has made mention that he wants to be an Oriole for life. I know, he is beloved by Baltimore, but like I said, I mean, these guys are businessmen at the end of the day. They got to do what's best for them. And around this point in time, if you're a player worth your salt, money talks. You're going to go where you have the absolute best chance of winning.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Now, what do you guys think? He started out really bad, Charlie Morton, and now lately he's been pitching lights out. Do you think he's going to get traded at the deadline to a contender? He has the experience. Chris, what do you think before TBK answers?
Listen, I think they should. I think the Orioles right now should think about trading these guys because, listen, this year, even though they're not totally out of it, I think they're 6 games out of a wild card. So they're not totally out of it, and they have been playing better. I would give it 1 week after the All-Star break, right? Give it that first series, maybe the second one, And then, like, listen, if they go 5 out of 6, 6 out of 7, something like that, yeah, then I would think about, okay, you know what? We're finally getting into a groove here. Maybe we can make up those 6 games, right? So then I wouldn't trade, the whole bunch. But guys like Charlie Morton, Zach Eflin, O'Hearn, like I mentioned, Mullen, all these guys, you know what? Yeah, it would be great to have veterans on the team, but you also want guys that are going to be there to play, right? Some of these guys are
Right.
like the other guy. What's the outfielder? The guy that they signed for Santander.
Hold
Hold
on.
on.
I actually
Tyler
have it.
O'Neill.
O'Neill.
Oh, yeah.
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 O'Neill.
Man, if they could get a bag of balls for that guy, trade him. You know what I'm saying? Get something for him. Because that guy's always hurt. And even when he's healthy, he's not that productive, right? Except on opening day. Opening day, he's Mr. Opening Day, right? I think he's got 6 or 7 straight home runs.
Yes.
6 or straight opening days with home runs. But
Yeah.
I think this is the time where the Orioles got to kind of readjust their team. Not rebuild, right? Because they have a good team. They have a good nucleus, right? Because you've seen it the last couple of years. This is a good young team. They just got to get more pitching in there, obviously. So, but this is the time to kind of restructure that team a little bit. Like you said, TVK, get some veterans in, that are going to be here for the next couple of years. Like I said, do you want to sign Mullins to a big contract after this year? I don't know. I don't know if that's what Baltimore wants to do.
Yeah.
I don't know either. Real quick, I just wanted to update everybody on the Mets score. Kansas City just tied it up. Nimmo dove for a ball. It got past them, and Kansas City scored. So it's a tie game, and Kansas City has a runner at second base with 2 outs. Go ahead, TBK. I'm sorry, I interrupted your answer.
Oh, you're fine. This is your show. You do your thing. Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. I mean, I guess to agree with your point, Chris, it's veteran players over longevity. You want guys who want to be here. You want guys that you can keep here. But right now, I think it's about filling the gaps, filling the needs, and the needs is pitching. Obviously, the needs is pitching. The bullpen has cost us games so many times this year.
Yeah.
And God bless Felix Bautista. I can't imagine how many games he has saved for us. You got to keep the big man healthy. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it scares me because I feel like who's available? Who can we get? Who can we actually be like, okay, here's O'Hearn, here's Mullins, here's I don't know who else I would even put there. Maybe Mateo. I mean, he hasn't done much, you know. So we give up Mullins, O'Hearn, and Mateo, but what do we get in return?
Right.
That's my biggest question.
I agree. Listen, if it's worth it, you make the move, right? If you're not getting much back, if you're getting like a low level prospect or something, I'm not making those moves either. I totally agree. You may as well make a run with this, at least this year with them. And then listen, if not, then you could just not tag them. You sign them to the offer sheet or whatever. They'll refuse it. And then you'll get at least a first round pick for them when they do get signed. So.
Yeah.
But listen, like Chris, do the Mets trade Mullins as a free agent? So it's a rental unless they decide to sign him. So do you trade an Acuna or a Beatty for maybe that'll be the last piece? They need that big bat, so you have to think about that. The Mets have some parts. They have a lot of good young players, and they could afford to get rid of 1 or 2 of them, but do they want to, and are they going to make that move? That's the question.
I'm with you. I think it comes down to, it doesn't have to be those guys specifically, but when you look at some of the players you've had up already, like Beatty's been kind of inconsistent, right? I think Mauricio is a guy that I wouldn't give up. I think that's a guy.
I agree.
Right.
Yes. Right.
He looks like he could be legit. Beatty looks inconsistent. Vientos, you don't know what's gonna. You have no idea what that guy's gonna be. Last year you thought, oh, this guy's gonna be a star at third base. Oh, we're set. And then this year the guy can't touch the ball, right? So right?
You're right.
I don't know. So I don't know. He might straighten out if you watch. You trade him, he's going to become a 35 home run guy, somewhere else, right? That's how it goes. I've seen it happen
maybe
with us.
For Baltimore. You're right. Maybe for Baltimore. And Jonathan apologizes to you, Chris, for
no problem, Jonathan. I appreciate it. Listen, it's all in good fun. I don't mind I love hearing Met fans, but I also want to hear the Yankee fans as well. That's all my point was. I want to hear from everybody, not just Met fans.
Yeah. It's not only Mets and Yankee fans too, like TBKs, Orioles, any team. We're going to have a Cincinnati Reds fan on soon, talk about the Cincinnati Reds. So we just want to talk baseball. It could be any other team.
I can't wait for that, to be honest, because I've been cheering for the Reds the last 2 years. They've been my sleeper team, and they're still sleeping, So I want to see what to wake them up.
You're gonna enjoy. Yeah, you're gonna enjoy talking to him. He's actually my dog's vet, and he grew up in Ohio, and he's a big Cincinnati Reds fan, and he wants to come on and talk soon. So we just have to set it up. Anyway, so TBK, you're right. The Orioles bullpen blew the first game, or else they probably would have swept the Mets. So I consider, the Mets lucky that they got out of town with one win.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I mean, again, when you watch games like that, and you watch your team command a game. And then, like I said, to lose by that much, to let a team come back on you that much, again, the problem is that and I've brought this up before, when the Orioles were bought by the new owner, by Rothenstein or whatever his name is, we were promised that the wallet would be busted open. We would start making some moves. And they busted open the wallet to buy more merch to toss out for free. And that's about it. We didn't get anybody substantial. I mean, we made, I don't know. I don't even think we made any impressive moves. Except for, like I said, we're really good at cultivating this young farm team that we got. We're getting top prospects out the ass. Am I allowed to cuss? I already did. I should have asked first.
Yeah. Listen, we had Chauncey Hayden on about a month and a half ago. So
I remember him. He was the guy with the epic stories. Yeah. Okay. I got you. Yeah. So no, I mean, like, I just, I feel like the question is what are we doing? Like you bought the team, you made all these promises, and then first half of the season, you fire your manager. You guys are slumping, and still the needs are not being met. If it weren't, I think honestly, if it weren't for the bats this year, I shudder to see what our record could be.
Yeah, well, like Chris said, we'll see what happens, what moves they make, and if they get some good prospects. I mean, they always have their own good prospects. They're always getting great players that end up with other teams too, which And
you know what? It looks like Elias. He's good at rebuilding the farm team, drafting, getting all this young talent. But it's almost like, not that he doesn't know how to take that next step. I'm sure he does, but I don't know if the team. I don't know. The team has got to that point where you're like, oh yeah, they're ready to take. They're ready to take that final step to get to the World Series or whatever. But the last 2 years, they made it to the playoffs, got knocked out quick. Now this year, it's really fallen apart. And I think a lot of it is, the pitching has not been good, obviously. And it just puts a lot of pressure on the younger players on the offensive side to score runs. And yeah, they're obviously capable of doing it. I mean, that's to me, that's a really good offensive team. But when you put all the pressure on them, like, okay, you guys got to make up 5 runs, you got to make up 6 runs because our starting pitcher, couldn't get out of this 3rd inning. So I think it just snowballs from that. So yeah, they need pitching. Now, do they go after pitching at the trade deadline and try to correct it? Or do they say, all right, you know what? Let's throw this season away. Let's trade a few guys, get what we can. And you know what? Look forward to the offseason and build up next season. The biggest need is finding a main ace by the trade deadline. Elias seems to get stuck with decisions. Yeah, I agree.
That's actually my roommate, the guy we're living with right now. I was trying to get him to come on. I'm like, come on, man. Yeah, help me. but
that's perfect, though. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
What we were talking about, yes.
He gets kind of stuck in that, okay, we got all this talent. We got all this young talent. Now what do we do with it? Sometimes you got to say, I'm going to cash these 2 guys into an ace pitcher, Like you guys did that with Corbin Burns last year.
Corbin Burns, yeah.
And then they didn't try to, they tried to re-sign him, but not hard enough, obviously.
Well,
maybe he wanted to go to Arizona.
I mean, so. I think though. What's up, Joe? I think we dodged the bullet though, because he's what? He's out on Tommy John, isn't he? Right now, Corbin.
Yeah.
Yep. So I mean, you look at John Means too. He was our ace. Tommy John surgery, Mike. We need an ace who doesn't have a funky freaking elbow, dude. we need a healthy guy.
The young kid, what's his name? Rodriguez,
yeah, him too.
Rodriguez.
He was. Listen, he's got stuff to be an ace, but again, injuries, right? He's a guy, so that's the one thing that's what they got to go into this offseason and try to get a couple of good pitchers. Redo the bullpen. Obviously, you got the closer, right? Batista. Yeah, he's as good as anybody. So I like that end. So we'll see.
And let's see if this owner is going to spend some money. We kept hearing last year that the Orioles' new owner has deep pockets. He has deep pockets, and look who he signed. He signed Charlie Morton, and he got Sanchez. I mean, that was your big moves, really, and then the outfielder, like you said.
You know what? He does have deep pockets. The problem is he also got short arms. So
yeah, he can't get. You're right.
he went right past the money and found all the freaking lint.
Right, exactly.
Like, what are you doing?
We'll just have to see what happens. Anyway, Chris, let's talk a little about the All-Star game for a second. I heard that they're going to do something in the All-Star game that we wish they would start doing in the regular season, Chris.
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I love the challenge system, and I can't wait to see it on full display here in the All-Star game. I think it's going to be fun to see, and I think it's obviously a preview. We're going to see it next season. I would love to have seen it this year, but I'm happy it's coming, and I'm happy to see it in the All-Star game. It'll be a good kind of preview for the fans to see, right? To say, okay, this is what it's going to look like. It's not a total, every call is going to be called by a computer or whatever you want to call it. It's only going to be a challenge system. Like if you're watching tennis, they challenge stuff like that, and football, obviously. So I like it. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. What do you think, TBK? You like that idea, the challenge system?
Yeah,
for balls and strike.
I think it's if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the fact that they're bringing it back, and also I heard that they're letting teams go back to their individual jerseys.
Yes.
Is that true too? Thank God.
Thank God is right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, those team jerseys were terrible.
I'm not a fan of this year's All-Star jerseys either, if you've seen them.
The warm-up jerseys.
Yeah, the AL and NL over here. It looks like I don't know.
Me and Chris were talking about that, right? Baseball is the one sport where you want to see the players wearing their team's uniform, right, Chris? I mean,
yeah, I love it. I think it's the way it should be. I don't know why they changed it in the first place. The warm-up jersey, that's great. You want to sell jerseys, I understand, but leave the game to the regular jerseys, right? And listen, I got an idea for Major League Baseball. If they want somebody who could design a jersey, they should ask our friend TBK, because he obviously knows a thing or two about designing logos, right? So, because of the one that we have right now.
Yeah.
So Major League Baseball would do themselves a big favor by hiring DBK, I think.
And let me tell you all something. If that were to happen, I may, like, you know how they say if you were to win a bunch of money, you wouldn't tell anybody, but there would be signs. There would be signs. I might be gone for a little while.
And you know what? Hey, the bar is not really set that high, so you should be able to do better. That's all.
If I can't do better than an AL and an NL, I have no business doing it.
Right.
Not only that, how about some of those City Connect uniforms? Like which one? Horrible. The San Diego Padres, is that the horrible one that
it's like pink and whatever.
Yeah, some of them are just horrible.
A couple of them I do like. I actually this year's no, I'm not going to say this one. I'll skip it. I like the White Sox. The Mariners is not bad. I kind of like. I'll say it. I kind of like the Red Sox one this year, the green one, the all green. After the green monster, I kind of like that because it's kind of plain. I like it. It's good.
You didn't want to say because of the Red Sox,
right? I don't want people to get the wrong idea, but
Chris hates the Red Sox. Chris hates the Red Sox.
Yeah. I would say though the majority are not good. You know, so Aaron, you guys both have them. I don't have them. So what is your TBK? What's your feeling about the City Connect for the Orioles?
I hate it. I hate it. Yeah. I think it's horrible. Like there's so many things that Maryland is known for. They could have, I mean, yeah, I get it. Our logo is the Oriole bird. You could have put a crab on there. You could have put the Maryland flag. You know, I don't know how many people, Mike will absolutely agree with this. People call Maryland a cult because we will literally put a Maryland flag on fucking anything.
Yeah.
Like we have Maryland flags on coffee mugs, on hats, on hoodies, on pens, it doesn't matter. We'll put a freaking flag on it. They missed a huge opportunity to really represent the city. Mm-hmm. You put Baltimore in some rainbow type letters around the for why?
Right. And it's like what was it, all black, right?
Yeah, it's all. I like the all black. The all black is great. It's kind of like the Ravens alternate with the all black. Yeah. But still, like it's City Connect. Nothing about that connects that to the city of Baltimore. Nothing.
Right. Yeah. That's true. As far as the Mets,
what do you think of the Met one? I'm not.
Yeah, to answer your question, I'm not a fan of it. You know,
it's not awful. I got.
It's not awful. I like it better this year than I did last year. It's the same uniform, but I mean, I'm accepted it more. It's not great, but you know, I've seen a lot worse, so I'll take it. Listen, it's just a money grab for Major League Baseball, of course. Sell more merchandise.
My idea for City Connects would be just make the retro jerseys as like a City Connect, right? Like the Mets with the old style with the pinstripe. Orioles, you guys got a couple of really good from the, retro style. The Yankees don't have much retro. I would go back to, I forgot what the exact years. It's like 1910 or something, where it's just like, it's like all dark blue, almost black with NY, like N and Y on the shirt. If you've ever seen that, that's actually pretty cool. I wouldn't mind seeing that. But other than that, I mean, I think all the teams could do retro style jerseys and they would be awesome.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. I don't think the Yankees are probably not going to have a City Connect. The Yankees will never have the players' names on the back of their uniforms. The Yankees are going to
do City Connect because they will mess it up.
Yeah, they stay with tradition. So I don't think you got to worry too much. But talking about the All-Star game, Chris, there was a couple of replacements, and one was a Met and one was a Yankee. David Peterson is now joining Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, and Edwin Diaz as an All-Star for the Met. This is his first All-Star game. He's replacing San Francisco pitcher Robbie Ray, and the Yankees have Rodon replacing Max Fried. What do you think about that, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, listen, as long as it's not for an injury there with Max Fried, I am totally fine with it. When they played barehanded. Yeah.
Not on my own show, Joe. No age, Joe.
What were they wearing? Potato sacks? What the hell?
Yeah.
They're wearing cotton. It was crazy. But go ahead, Chris.
Yeah, no. Hey, listen, as long as it's not for a Max Fried injury, it's just that it lines up for the time when he pitches and all that stuff. So they don't want to mess that up. So I'm totally fine with that. Rodon pitched tonight. Obviously pitched great. So he's more lined up to pitch. So if that's what it's for, that's great. Like I said, as long as it's not for an injury, I don't mind. And it's up to Fried too. Like, if he said, listen, I still want to go, you don't have to pitch me in the All-Star game, but whatever. It is what it is. It's the All-Star game, right? I wonder though, the guys that get named, if they get hurt or something, or in this case with Fried, do they still get their All-Star bonus? I would assume they do, right?
Yeah, I would assume they do, or else he wouldn't he wouldn't want to be replaced. No matter what, everyone wants. Yeah. It doesn't matter how many millions you make in a year. If you got that written in your contract, you want to get that bonus, right?
And we found that out with one.
And that's another thing, Chris. Right? They were talking about, Chris, on social media again. And Michael K said he doesn't care. And I agree with Michael K. They were talking about Soto. I think guys on FAN were saying, Soto doesn't need the $100,000. He shouldn't be mad that he didn't make the All-Star game. Who are you to say what? It's in his contract, right? And Michael K said, I don't care if he gets it or not.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, whatever people want to believe with Soto or with any player, this goes for any player. Yeah. It's for the money when they sign the contract, right? He went to the Mets because it was the better deal. Simple as that. If the Yankees gave him the better deal, guess what? He'd be a Yankee. But the Mets said, you know what? That's what the Yankees are offering you. We're going to give you a little bit more. We're going to give you a little more here. And that made him say, oh, you know what? And I like those guys over there. So I'm going to go sign there. I really like the Yankee guys too. But you know what? The Mets offered me a little bit more money, so I'm going to go there. It doesn't make him a bad person. It's fine. It's what any one of us would have done. And remember what Judge did a couple of years ago when he signed for a little less than going out to San Fran or San Diego or wherever. You know what? That's very rare. Does that make him any better than Juan Soto or any of these or anybody else? No, it's just that's a personal decision. Just like with Soto, with the All-Star game, right? With the money. Yeah, okay. It looks kind of dumb for a guy making $800 million to be upset over $100,000 bonus, because it'd be like us making a big deal about a $2 bonus at work. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Who cares? You're probably right. Just, it's probably it was probably half a joke that what he did, to be honest, Juan Soto. I'll be honest.
Juan Soto is a young kid with his whole career ahead of him. I mean, obviously, I don't think club or team loyalty is too big on the priority list when you're getting ridiculous checks waved in your freaking face. I mean, that's the equivalent of being like somebody being like, hey, I really, really like you. And then someone being like, yeah, they might like you, but I love you. It's like, well, here it comes.
You're absolutely right. And another thing we talked about off air, Chris, and since we were just talking about uniforms, I told you that I saw something about Dave Roberts. He always wears the Dodgers uniform. He doesn't wear a hoodie or a pullover or anything. What do you think about that? I like that. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I think the managers should wear the uniforms. Absolutely. I'm not a big fan of like Boone with the with the jacket or whatever. just wear the uniform. That's what everybody does. That's what it's for. That's what's been going on for years, right? I remember I've seen photos of was it Connie Mack? He used to wear the suit, right? An actual
and
suit.
John McGraw, I think, also, yeah.
Right, yeah. Like, I'd rather see that if you're not going to wear the uniform. I don't like seeing the sport jacket or whatever it is, the warm-up jacket or something like
The
that.
pullover,
The
pullover.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those things, so I'm with you.
What about you, TBK? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, you're El Capitan. I mean, it's all about team unity. At least look like you want to be there.
Right, yeah.
They give you a look. I'd be thrilled to death to have anything with an official, sports logo team with my freaking name on the back. So if you're going to give it to me, I'm going to wear it. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't. I would at least, present yourself like, hey, we're all in this together. Let me dress for the occasion, I guess.
Yeah, we're definitely old school on that, Chris. Definitely, I just prefer that. And the Kansas City just took the lead with a 2-run homer, 3-1. So here we go again with the Mets. The bullpen once again is blowing a game, and the Mets have got to get their act together. Maybe they need this All-Star break to come fast. They got to regroup. I know pitching help is on its way. Sunday we have Manaea. He's gonna pitch in relief after home starts, which is another thing, Chris. The game, but we're gonna have, but Manaea is gonna come in. So that I think this also has something to do with the number of innings that Holmes has been pitching.
Yeah. What'd you say? Manaea was starting, or he's coming in?
No. Holmes is starting, and Manaea is coming in for relief.
Oh, in the same game?
Yeah, in the same game. They're only going to let Holmes pitch a certain amount of pitch count, and then Manaea is going to
and that's just for this game, right? And then Manaea is going to start?
Yeah, that's what they're saying so far. I mean,
okay.
All
right. Yeah, listen, to me, it's going to be an interesting, we've been talking about it with Holmes, like what to expect in the second half with Holmes pitching already more than he's ever pitched in the major leagues, right? I just don't know what to expect. He might be fine in the second half. I don't know. Listen, the first half has been kind of a shock, right? We've been talking about it. Him going from being a bullpen guy for the last, 7 years, going back to his minor league days with Pittsburgh. So I really don't know what to expect with Holmes. He could be fine. He could be, if he gives you what he gave you so far in the first half and in the second half, that's great. That's awesome. But I just don't know what he's going to do in the second half. And I don't even think the Mets know. I think the Mets are rolling the dice. And if it works, awesome. If it doesn't, then, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, he's never pitched this many innings before, so we don't know what's going to happen. And I think we're going to see more of this. Yeah, we're going to see more of this where they're going to really look at his pitch count, because going down the stretch, they're going to need him, and the postseason, so they have to be very careful with his innings pitch. So he's a guy who, I understand, they really have to be on top of his pitch count, because what could happen with him. Last year he was like two different players, the first half and the second half, right?
Yeah, and that was as a reliever, right? As the closer. So how is he going to be as a starter? Is it going to be the same thing where the second half he collapses, or maybe as a starter he found his niche, what he could be really good at, and he could give you a consistent season first half and second half. So it's going to be interesting. We've been talking about it now for a while with Holmes, and and I think it's going to be a week to week thing with him. So I'm curious to see how he plays pitches in the second half.
Yeah, me too. And I wanted to ask you another thing about the Yankees DFAing DJ LeMahieu. What are your thoughts on that?
I thought it was, it was a matter of time that it was going to happen, right? Because once they announced that Jazz was going back to second, and in that same conversation, they had said that DJ cannot physically play third base anymore, then what are you keeping him as a backup second base, first baseman? We already got a backup first baseman in Ben Rice. Backup infielder, you got Peraza. So what is DJ's role, as a bench player? Is that what this guy, you're going to carry him as a guy who hits? He doesn't hit for a high average anymore. He doesn't hit for any power. So what are you really keeping this guy for? So once they made that move, Jazz back to second, I think it was just a matter of time. And I love DJ. I've been a huge fan of his. But the last couple of years, he's just kind of fallen off a cliff, unfortunately. As we say, Father Time is undefeated, right? And it caught up to DJ probably a little sooner than we all wanted, but it happened.
Oh yeah, and I didn't even hear this rumor.
No,
that Michael said that the Dodgers trading for Henderson. TBK, did you hear that rumor?
I did not hear that rumor, but I would have rather it stayed silent, because if that's true, that's taking a major bat away from us at that point. Like I said, if we're trying to, again, offer up all these players, the players that we mentioned, or the players that I would feel comfortable letting go, no, you can't let Henderson go.
No.
And if you're trading to a team like the Dodgers, they better have something amazing in return.
Yeah. No,
I don't.
No way.
Yeah.
No way, right, Chris?
To me, he's the face of the franchise right now.
Yeah, he is.
Him, I think, Rutschman. I think Adley Rutschman is right. I mean, those guys are the face of the franchise. So I personally don't see it happening. I'll be shocked.
I can't, especially if that owner wants to do something for next year. He's not going to trade Gunnar Henderson. If I saw Gunnar Henderson go to the Dodgers, then I would say, what the hell is going on with baseball? Really?
If he traded Henderson to the Dodgers, don't even come to Camden. Don't even come to Baltimore. Just go away. You're not safe here.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I can't see it happening. But with the Dodgers farm team, they're always spitting out prospects like nothing. So I'm sure they got 3 or 4 really good prospects that they would trade, but I just don't see the Orioles trading him. The other guys possibly, and maybe they should, but again, we talked to, we've been saying with Elias, like he's that guy. He just afraid to make the decision, whatever word you want to explain, describe him, do it, because I don't know why. So we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. The Orioles don't trade Henderson, the face of that franchise, because I mean, if you want to piss off the Oriole fans any more than you already have by doing nothing last offseason, and if you want people like TBK just to, really, really, really go off, then you trade Henderson. But I think that's just a rumor, and I don't think the Dodgers, I don't think they're gonna make a trade for him. But anything could happen in baseball. That would that would really
making a major move though. Dodgers
they're
always looking to make.
I can see the Dodgers doing it, but not the Orioles, right?
Yeah, right.
But we'll see. So, Chris, I wanted to ask you something. I keep thinking of this stuff. The home run derby. I heard that Jazz is going to be in the home run derby.
Yes. It is what it is. I'm not gonna, I don't know. I'm at the point where it's cool to see a player from your team do it. So that part is cool. But we know sometimes the results of a guy in the home run derby kind of messes up their swing. We've seen that happen too. So I'm hoping that's not the case, obviously, with Jazz. I wish him the best of luck. It would be great to see him win. But it is what it is. I just seen today also Olsen is taking over for Acuna in the home run
Okay.
derby. Yeah, I guess
Okay.
because I know he had the back issue the last couple
Yeah.
of days, so maybe they want to
Do
give
you
him a rest.
do you still like the home run derby as much as you used to?
No, I don't like the way it is now with the timing, and I
Yeah,
like it better when they had the strikes when it was quick. It
me
was
too.
right. I thought, yeah, yeah, I definitely like the old style of what it was, but you know, again, it is what it is. I liked when they had the out. It was outs, right? Wasn't it? They had so many outs.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
I
like
I like that. Do you
9 or
TBK?
10.
Do you like the home run derby now?
No, I agree with Chris. Like I said, I mean, most of the time I tend to lean on the if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because I mean it was iconic at one point. Just like the All-Star game, you look forward to seeing your favorite player up there going for the for the trophy or whatever. And I don't know. I feel like they've tried to rush the game of baseball with all these pitch clocks and the counts and all now, which yeah, I get it. I've definitely been to a couple games to where it's like, and okay, I'm still here, you know. but but yeah, like you're messing with nostalgia for the sake of hurrying up the game. I don't know. I don't like it.
Did we lose Chris? I hope he's not having problems again like
Oh
he
no.
had
Ugh.
last time. No, here I see him popping up. There he is.
All right.
You made me nervous there, Chris.
Yeah, no, me too.
This is like I don't like it, and I'm leaving.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it with the home run derby. I'm out of here,
Exactly.
guys.
I'm out. I'm done. Ugh.
I'm going really. I'm out of here.
Well,
I'm going to another show.
All right, we talked about Baltimore with the trade deadline. Let's get to the Mets and the Yankees a little bit before we go with the trade deadline. Well, what do you think, Rob? Where do you think the Mets are going to go with the trade deadline?
Well, I really hope that they get another bat. Listen, I'd be happy with Mullins. I really would. I think that's like I said before. I think that's a good fit for the Mets. But I think they need one more bat for that lineup. That lineup has to really start getting consistent, though. Because if you think about it, that lineup really should be doing some damage, and they've been having trouble all year, even when they're hitting, scoring. Runners in scoring position. It's just crazy that they always have trouble with that. So that's my number one. That's my number one thing. And then, of course, pitching. And there's some pitchers, some teams are out of it, and there's pitchers that are available, but some of the contracts are bad. Like we've been talking about Severino, right, Chris? But his contract, what are the A's going to be able to eat any of that contract? What do you think? Because Sevy is unhappy. He doesn't want to play there. He said it's like playing in spring training and minor leagues, and he hates the ballpark, right?
Yeah. Listen, I'm sure they want to get rid of him, right? After those comments. He signed a 3-year, $67 million deal with them. So
yeah.
He basically has, after this year, he's basically got 2 years at 25 and 22 million. He's got a player option for the third year. So he's obviously going to take that too. But is that a contract that you want? 2 years, $40 something million for this guy that's been hurt a lot. He hasn't pitched great this year. Maybe if he goes to the Mets, maybe he pitches like he did last year. Is it worth it? And I'll be honest, he probably won't cost much in a trade, right?
No, he won't. Right.
Because of the contract. So that's the good part. But as a Met, would you do that? If you gave up next to nothing for him, would you take the contract fully back?
Nah, that contract, listen, if they really wanted him that bad, they would have signed him to a bigger contract, right? I loved what he did last year, but he's having a bad year. It's probably because he's not happy. It's probably because of that stadium. But he's also prone to injuries, right? So we don't know what with the Mets' luck, they'll do the deal and then they'll get injured. This year the Mets have had no luck with these pitchers. Now, so I don't know if I probably would not make that move unless Oakland paid a chunk of that contract, which I don't know if it's not Oakland, the A's. I keep saying Oakland. I don't know if the A's could do that. Could they afford to do that? I don't know. What's even going on with the A's, Chris, with Vegas? Is their stadium being built? We don't know what's going on. So I don't know.
I would think that it's happening. We've seen pictures of it, or they're planning on being there in 2 years or 3 years, whatever it is. So, but would they pay down the contract? I don't know. If I'm the Mets, a guy I would look at for pitching wise is the guy from Pittsburgh, Mitch Keller, right? That's a solid starter. Right. He's been through the last few years with Pittsburgh. I think he's a solid starter. I would bring him on, and maybe you get Bednar, their closer.
Would love that. Love that.
I think,
but the Yankees would too, right? The Yankees would too.
Absolutely.
We can't really talk about the Orioles doing this because I'm pretty sure that they're going to be sellers, TBK. But like Chris with the Mets and the Yankees, what about the Grom? Texas is at what do you think? The Grom's having a DeGrom year, right?
Right, but would DeGrom want to come back to the Mets?
Or right? I don't know. I'm not only talking about the Mets, I'm talking about the Yankees too.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd want to come back to New York. Wasn't part of leaving New York is because he wanted to leave, like he didn't like New York? Wasn't that the whole?
I don't know. I think it's just that he wanted that big contract, but
that's the other thing. Texas has no state tax, right?
Yes,
no income tax. So you're losing that when you go back to New York. Obviously, you're going to get crushed with taxes in New York. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't think let me look if he has a no trade.
He must have a no trade clause because he has opt-outs and everything. So
right, because he wants to be there.
Yeah, he's got to have a no trade.
He's got a full no trade.
Yeah, I knew it. He had to have a no trade clause. He
has a club option in 2028 for $20 million.
Okay, so he may not. That it's up to him if he wants to move anyway. I don't
think anybody would take on that contract. I'll be honest. I know he's healthy this year. It's great to see him pitch, but would you take on, another 4 years? That's tough. He's 37 years old as well.
But but speaking, and the Mets have the bases loaded in the 8th inning with 1 out, so let's see what happens. But speaking of KC, how about Seth Lugo for the Mets or for the Yankees? I wouldn't mind having him.
I would love that. Last year he was a runner-up for the Cy Young. I think he has one more year left on his contract, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he has 1 more year. Listen, I would not mind seeing him back on the Mets. The Mets maybe should have let him be a starter. I mean, they did it with Holmes. Maybe they should have done it with Lugo because
he's 35. He's got one more next year as a player option for $15 million. So he may not take that. He may want to become a free agent, right? So that might be a rental. So at 35 years old, Kansas City might just say, hey, you know what? Let's just trade this guy. Give us something, maybe not one of your top prospects, but a decent one. And maybe that gets it done.
Yeah, maybe. And just Vientos just knocked in the Mets lead 4-3. So Vientos just had a big hit for the Mets in the 8th inning, and the Mets take the lead.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's about time. He got a hit that he needed that hit. Like the Yankees needed what's going on with the Yankees, Vientos needed this hit. So the Mets are ahead 4-3 in the top of the 8th inning, which is good.
It's weird. Like the Yankees and the Mets both kind of need the same, right? They need a starter.
Yeah.
To help, an arm or two for the bullpen, right? And an extra bat. Like you guys are looking probably more center fielder. We're looking more third base, right? Right-handed third base would be perfect. But so we'll see. The big name is Suarez from Arizona. But does Arizona become sellers? That's my biggest thing. I don't know if they're going to become sellers. I think some of these teams, I think, are going to wait until after the All-Star break, that first series or two. If they come out flat after the All-Star break, then they'll say, okay, then they'll cut the cord and say, okay, we're sellers, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's going to determine a lot. If it doesn't by the All-Star break, I think that first series or two, first 6 games might really determine what some of these teams do.
And yeah, are the Guardians going to be sellers too? They were talking about that.
Maybe Class A.
Imagine
for you guys, Class A and Diaz in the 8th and 9th inning. Right.
That would be amazing. He's not having a year like he had last year, but that's something to think about. So are they going to be sellers? There's a lot, and we talked about the Pirates, the Mets and the Yankees would love Bednar, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Who wouldn't?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's a pretty good arm for the bullpen.
Why not? And let's talk about sales. Should the Pirates trade him now and take advantage of what they could get for him? Anything could happen, right?
Yeah.
He could get hurt.
Skeens, right? Paul Skeens for Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah.
Right. Alex Jackson was traded. Yeah. We got him. Where did we get him? We got him. Oh, we got him in the Reds deal, I think, for Trevino. I think he was one of the guys along with Cruz. And then they traded him to, who did they trade him to? They just traded him recently. Not the Mets, right?
I got to look it up. No, not the Mets. No.
But yeah, I listen, I don't know if it's going to happen. I doubt it's going to happen this year. I'll say it that way. Does it happen in the off season? Yeah. Because you know what? In another year or two, unfortunately, Skeens is probably going to get Tommy John. That'll probably knock him out, right? We've seen that. We talked about Tommy John already, unfortunately, So
get that Tommy guy the hell out of here.
Yeah. and it's just going to be a matter of time before he wants out, number one, or when he becomes a free agent, he's going to walk. So I think Pittsburgh should trade him at some point.
I think so too. But let's get back to TBK for a second here, since he's on. I had a question about your feelings with the Nationals and the Orioles. What do you think? There's like a big rivalry, like the Mets, Yankees, Dodgers, Giants. Do you see that in the area where you are right now?
No. It's always been Orioles, Yankees. I've been to plenty of Orioles, Yankees games where the tensions, saying the tensions are high is a very big understatement. Let's put it that way. No, I've never felt it with the Nationals. I feel like they're there, we're here. That's about it.
They're there, we're here.
Yeah, it's different than because of course Met fans hate the Yankees and the Yankee fans hate the Mets, and Chris will say it no matter what anybody says. There's no way you could be a Met and Yankee fan. I hate, and Chris hates it when people say I'm a New York fan.
Oh,
yeah.
I hate the sound of that.
Right, Chris?
Yeah.
I'm a
and
New York fan.
And I don't even think, I'll be honest, the Mets and Yankees is not a huge rivalry. I don't think it is. It's not Yankees, Red Sox. It's not Mets, Phillies, right? It's Yankees, Mets. I don't consider it, and I don't think a lot of people consider it that big of a rivalry because we're not in the same division, right? It's not like Rangers, Islanders. It's not like that in hockey. So Jets, Giants, I don't think is that big of a rivalry either because they're not in the same division. They're not even in the same league, right? Yeah. The same thing with the Mets and the Yankees.
It's not a rivalry like the Yankees, Red Sox, Mets, Phillies. I think it's just like a hatred. Like the Met fans hate the Yankees because of all the rings that they won, right? And the little brother status. And the Yankee fans, and the
Right.
Yankee
And then
fans,
on the other side, Yankee fans, I don't think look at the Mets as that big of a rival. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that in a bad way. It's just like we don't think of the Dodgers, yeah, but
you hit the Dodgers, yeah.
yeah. I don't
Yeah.
think any other team in the National League we look at as that big of a rival because they're not in the same league as us. So even if we
You're right.
get, right? I don't know. That's the way I look at it. Even Jeter, if you've seen the famous clip of Derek Jeter when they talk about the Mets, he was like, "We never looked at the Mets as they're just the Mets," and it's not. I'm not insulting them. It's just, yeah, okay. We played the series, right? We played 2 series. We both won 3 games. Okay, now what? You know what I mean? It didn't hurt our, our situation. It didn't hurt our season. We still got 2 months to go, 3 months to go, whatever it is. And we're not going to play them again. We split with them. So, okay.
And
I'm
that's
more
it.
mad that we got friggin' swept by Toronto. That's what I'm pissed off at. That pissed me off. And they gotta get those games back when they played them again. Like that's
yeah.
It's like Mike said, it's just nicknamed the Battle of the Beltway, and it goes to show how unoriginal we are because it's the same thing with the Ravens and the Commanders, which it still feels weird after all these years to call them the Commanders. But anyway, it's like I said, they're over there. We're separated by I-95. That's it. It's like an hour ride or whatever. No, it's not that serious. It never has been.
Okay, that's cool. So, one other thing I have, Chris, I don't know if you have anything. I just want to mention the death of an ex-Yankee coach and former Major League ball player, coach for like almost everybody, but also managed the Cubs and the Phillies. Lee Elia passed away this week, and he was. Do you remember when he was a Yankee coach?
The name rings a bell. I'll be honest.
Okay. Well, he was a manager for the Cubs and the Phillies, and when he was the manager for the Cubs, he got into it with the Cubs fans because he called them out for being bad fans one time. So that was his legacy, and that with the Cubs, and then he was he was, I guess, fired, and then he managed for the Phillies for a little while. But all right, that's all I have. Do you have anything else? And then we'll talk about what's happening on Monday.
Yeah, we could just talk about what's happening on Monday with the Magic Show. Got our magicians coming on Monday. That should be interesting.
Yeah, the Winnick brothers.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Maybe they can pull some money out of Rothenstein.
I don't know.
Jeez.
You know what? You know what? Whenever you see a magician on TV, man, I know it is what it is, but it still freaks me out sometimes because I'm like, how in the world do these people do it?
Yep.
It just blows me. Even when you see those other shows that show you how it's done, it's still like, no, I still don't. Like it's still amazing.
Sure.
I think magic is great. I think all magicians are great. So I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Keith Winnick, one of the Winnick brothers, good friend of mine. We used to go to a lot of Met games in the 90s together. So it's going to be fun to talk to him about the Mets, Yankees, and we'll see what they're going to do with Trick Live. So we're going to see that too. So I'm looking forward to that. And like I said, we have other guests coming on. We're going to have a sports medicine guy come on and talk about all these injuries. I think that's going to be after the All-Star break. And, we're going to have guests. We're going to keep doing what we're doing. But, I want to thank TBK for coming on tonight. It was really fun to have him on. Right, Chris? Yeah,
no, this was great. I love this. I love having guests on. Love having another opinion outside of ours. I love it. I think it's great. Anybody else want to join us? You want to talk ball? If you're not a Yankee fan or a Met fan, you could still come on. We're still cool, as you can see. We welcome even Dodger fans, Red Sox fans. You're all welcome. So come on down and hang out with us for a show. That would be cool. I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to the medical show because I think we can all use some medical advice here. Joe, we all got some kind of pains going on with our backs, our necks, or whatever. So I'm looking forward to that one as well. I got some questions, not just about baseball, but
Yeah, that's great.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. We got some guests lined up. Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, and we just want to thank everybody because listen, you guys are making this show really, really explode out there. I mean, we're everywhere. TikTok, I can't believe in 2 weeks we have almost 1,000 followers on TikTok alone.
That's insane,
and people
man.
loving our shorts. And X, we have, it's just this show is. When we started and we were just the little podcast without video, I did not think it was going to get this big, this fast. And, to celebrate, we're going to definitely have some giveaways and contests. In August, Chris, it's going to be our 1-year anniversary already of the show. So I know you have, you have some stuff to give away. And it's just, I couldn't ask for a better co-host. And this has just been, it's great. We love it. And, we love having people like TBK on, and he is definitely going to be on again soon. Definitely.
There you go. Thank you, Donnie. Now I finally got a Yankee fan with me.
All right.
Appreciate you showing up. Thank you for checking.
All right. So we'll see everybody on Monday, 3 p.m. with the Winnick Brothers magicians talking and doing some tricks. So until then, guys, thanks. Great show, guys.